And we continue at 2:06 in the afternoon, the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
Eduardo writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com on the upcoming Los Angeles 2028 Olympics. Hey, guys, the Olympics really need some new names for these sporting events, so I'd like to make a contribution for your consideration. For gymnastics, how about the Ferrer Fentanyl Fold Time Trials? The Hugo Artistic Meth Head Power Tumbling.
Yeah, clap that up.
In swimming, the 500-meter hobo rescue from the L.A. River. On track, the 5-meter Karen Bass heroin addict hurdle.
It's not a namsy-pamsy thing.
The DSA Narcan jab relay. And all cycling events were canceled because all the bikes got stolen.
Now, don't they have an event in the Olympics where you have to shoot the disc with guns? We can do that with Karen Bass's stolen guns.
No!
Imagine winning a gold medal in that.
Thank you, Eduardo. I'm sure the LA City Council will consider those events for the LA 2028.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, Mother Goose is in the news yet again, this time for her missing text messages related to the L.A. fires. And the L.A. Times, or I guess I should say the El Segundo Times, is taking her to court saying it's time for you to produce those text messages.
The LA Times is suing Karen Bass even after she released some of the text messages, but they're a little pissed that she didn't release the important ones, like the ones that she had with now fired LAFD Chief Kristen Crowley or Marquise, who was in charge of the city when Karen was gallivanting in Ghana.
I love the fact that we didn't get any of those text messages, but we know that Rite Aid told her to pick up her prescription.
Oh, and that she needed to send Monica Rodriguez flowers for her birthday. They released that.
Well, at least we got the important stuff.
For more, let's go to KCAL, who talked to one of the LA Times reporters that is suing the city of Los Angeles. And they'll probably win, adding to that budget deficit.
After obtaining 125 recovered text messages from the phone of Mayor Karen Bass during the initial hours of the Palisades fire, the LA Times is now suing the city of Los Angeles, accusing the city of unlawfully withholding and deleting messages from the mayor's phone.
LA Times staff writer Julia Wick has been at the forefront of the reporting on the mayor's text messages, and she joins us now live with more. Hi, Julia. Thanks for being with us on this Friday evening. Now, the mayor's office initially said that there were no responsive records and that the mayor's phone auto-deletes those messages every 30 days.
And she has no idea how that setting got turned on.
But didn't they request these text messages before they were deleted?
Yes. She has a 30-day auto-delete, but the LA Times asked for these on January 12th.
And she said, well, I was so busy, I didn't have time to preserve the text messages.
Yes.
So let's talk about
I mean, this is not something new. This happened before the fires. The city does everything they could do to delay any public records requests.
Well, if you were as corrupt as them, wouldn't you do the same thing?
So let's talk about the over 2-month process of actually obtaining these texts and how they were ultimately recovered.
Absolutely. So we...
There you go. Well, it's good to see that Shang has found work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just something to think about if you're ever being interviewed on anything. If you use that as the first word to an answer, people notice it.
Absolutely. So we filed a public records request. And for viewers who aren't familiar, in California and most other places, officials are required to turn over a great deal of records to the public, to journalists, to really any interested party. And so we really wanted to know what Bass had been doing during this almost 24-hour period of time when she was traveling from Ghana to Los Angeles during the first 24 hours of the Palisades fire.
How many of her staffers was she screaming at, blaming her stupid trip on them for?
Well, she was probably doing a fair amount of that, and there was probably a fair amount of curse words like, oh, bleep, I can't believe this is happening while I'm gone.
So on January 10th, a few days after the fire broke out, we filed a public records request for all of her texts relating to fire response or travel plans sent during this time period.
And the city is so slow to respond to stuff like that, she just let them delete.
Are they slow to respond to it, or were they slow on purpose?
Well, there is that.
And nearly 2 months later, the city finally got back to us and told us there were no responsive records. And so I was very confused by that, since, she had said she had been texting, Supervisor Barger had said she'd been texting with Bass. We kind of couldn't quite figure out, what was going on there and why there wouldn't be any text messages. And then her office told us they had been deleted. And then they let...
Sorry, we don't have them anymore. They're gone. It wasn't anything important.
Too bad, so sad.
And then they later told us they were able to recover them. I don't know how they were able to recover them. They told us they used specialized technology.
So, Julia, looking at the messages you were provided...
How about that text thread between Karen Bass and Lindsay Horvath where she got all bitchy and said, this doesn't sound very locked arms to me?
Well, maybe she deleted them, but Lindsay didn't, because I guarantee you they were leaked from Team Lindsay.
Nobody hacked Lindsay Horvath's phone. The reason the LA Times and Fox 11 and all the other news organizations got Lindsay Horvath's texts is because Lindsay took a screenshot and sent them to them.
So, Julia, looking at the messages you were provided, what were your big takeaways of the mayor's communication in the early hours of the fires as she made her way back from Ghana?
That they sent completely irrelevant ones that had nothing to do with what was going on?
Yeah, they didn't learn much of anything.
It's a great question. So I think the texts really give us a lot of insight, frankly, into how...
Oh, so close.
You almost got two of them.
Reacting in these early hours. There's a lot of messages from...
Where are all the texts to Karen Bass being like, where the bleep are you?
Oh, I'm sure she got plenty of those.
Federal officials from the Biden White House, both California senators, people checking in, kind of asking how they can help. You can see her right away trying to marshal resources for the city. And granted, I should also say this is a limited window into how she was responding. We don't know about her phone calls. We don't know about her email.
There was one batch of messages where she was trying to join a Zoom call from the military phone on the military flight from Africa. And she kept being like, can you see me? I'm here.
And granted, I should also say this is a limited window into how she was responding. We don't know about her phone calls. We don't know about her emails. But I think it also...
Are those also public records?
What is the difference? Can someone please explain this to me? If you're talking about emails, what you're talking about is correspondence, information going from one party to another. What's the difference between an email and a text message, or an email and a voicemail, or an email and a phone conversation? It's all information that's being communicated from one person to another.
I think what's going on here is because the public records law was written so long ago, they're using the broad language to say, well, no, emails don't count, or texting doesn't count, or Gavin says everything from my office doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't get that. They need to update the law.
Gavin's bat phones don't count.
Responding. We don't know about her phone calls. We don't know.
Yeah, good luck getting a Democrat supermajority in the state of California to vote for more transparency.
No, they want less transparency.
Responding. We don't know about her phone calls. We don't know about her emails. But I think it also really humanizes the mayor, to be honest, in this.
LA Times got LA Times.
Of course. She screwed this up, and we have access to only a limited number of emails or messages, text messages that she provided, and they show that she was really in command, and she's really human, and she really cares.
Sure, we're suing her for lack of transparency, but there's a person behind that lawsuit.
But I think it also really humanizes the mayor, to be honest, in this moment. You really see her as a person desperately trying to get home.
Why?
Yeah, well, guess what? Air travel stinks, and anytime you leave the state, you're always desperately trying to get home.
A limited view for sure. The messages provided are, let's say, curated, very curated, painting a collaborative picture. State and federal officials offering.
Yeah, is anybody buying that this is every single text message?
No. And I'll tell you this. If you were someone who's, let's say, not a municipally elected official, and you sent her a text message saying, "Where the bleep are you? Get back home right now," your private text messages are going to be made public real soon.
I would love to see at what point Karen Bass was trying to text Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom responded, "New phone, who dis?"
State and federal officials offering support. One text from Supervisor Barger even says that the city has been incredible, but missing is any correspondence with then Fire Chief Kristen Crowley or...
Why wouldn't they release that?
Yeah, shouldn't those text messages be very interesting to look at in retrospect?
City Council President Marquise Harris Dawson, who was acting mayor as Bass was in Ghana and on her way back. Now, this may be difficult, but let's talk about what isn't there.
Yeah, so that's another great question. And that's really hard to say because, you know, she mentions being on the phone with Crowley at one point in the text. So it's possible they weren't texting. But the mayor's office told us they were withholding text messages for a variety of reasons. So we
just have reasons. We have our reasons.
That's transparency, Randy.
So we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know what we don't have, basically, which I realize is a pretty unsatisfying answer. I also find it pretty unsatisfying. And, you know, those are those text messages that we're really fighting to still get, because I think...
Yeah, she wanted the headline that Karen Bass releases the text. And when she got asked about it at a press conference, she said, "I'm so glad the text messages are out, and we figured out that technical snafu." When the real story is she deleted the text, and the ones that they sent are irrelevant.
Sure, but the LA Times, to a certain extent, is taking the bait. Because if she only gave them the text messages that she wants them to see, and then they say, "Oh, these humanizes her and shows how desperate she was to get back home." Well, this is the first news cycle that Karen Bass wins.
The public deserves that window into this incredibly important chapter in LA history.
So as we've been reporting, the LA Times now suing the city, accusing officials of unlawfully withholding and ultimately deleting more of the mayor's texts and other fire-related public records. You're a part of this suit. What are you hoping to accomplish, and was it always the intention of the Times to sue?
You know, I think probably the paper's lawyers would be best suited for any questions about the law.
Boy, she's a great booking for this. You're on the lawsuit. Tell us why you're suing the mayor.
Well, she's not a lawyer, and she doesn't want to say anything in terms of legalities that turns out not to be true. But attorneys who are involved in lawsuits like these, my guess is that they're not interesting guests.
The lawsuit, but I would just say I think the precedent here is really important. The fact that even though these text messages were able to be restored, city policy says these kind of records should be kept for 2 years. And so I think the precedent that a mayor or a public official should not be able to decide at their discretion which records are worth keeping, I think it's really about that precedent.
You mean that already is state law?
Okay, so if the city ordinance says they need to be kept for 2 years, and she had them on auto-delete after 30 days, then she's in direct violation of the city rules.
Yeah, but what's that going to actually mean? How does she get in trouble?
And
City council going to censure her?
I have text messages on my phone that are older than 30 days. If her text messages are on auto delete after 30 days, someone had to specifically set that up.
So do you think that the mayor's office is intentionally withholding what could be more damaging messages?
I can answer that. Yes.
Duh.
I would not speculate about something like that.
That's why it's fun on talk radio. We can speculate all we want. Don't try calling me a journalist.
Yeah, you know, the council to the mayor previously told you that Bass's texts were ephemeral and did not have to be shared according to the California Public Records Act. Your response to that?
yeah, I don't agree with that interpretation of the law. I think, these text messages are, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of the law, but I think that as you look through them, any kind of person looking through them can see these are not just ephemeral. These are, someone having real substantive discussions during a crisis. And I don't think they're...
Except they didn't send us any of the ones that are actually relevant. No. But hey, we know that she got flowers for Monica Rodriguez.
We all know what this fight is over. Those text messages are going to paint her in a horrible light. Everyone is going to be asking her where she is. She's going to be caught flat-footed, and she's going to say, I'm on my way back home. I'm having horrible internet connections on this plane. What's going on? Can someone please fill me in? It's going to be a really bad look for her. She's going to do whatever it is that she has to do to make sure that these text messages never see the light of day.
Ephemeral. Also, part of the law he cited was predates text messages. It's from 1981.
Yeah, we got to write a new law.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. LA Times staff writer Julia Wick, we really appreciate you taking the time on this Friday evening.
There you go. The LA Times is suing Karen Bass in the city of Los Angeles for not really releasing the text that she said she released.
And whenever those text messages become public, Karen Bass is going to have yet another bad news cycle. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, with the end of the show quickly approaching, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts. Maybe you get them on Apple Podcasts. Maybe you get them on Spotify, the iHeartRadio app, wherever you get your podcasts. If you search for The John Phillips Show, the show should come up. You can hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. If you have a podcast app where you can't find the show, email us and we'll try to fix that. But download all the episodes. Keep them on your phone in case you're at a place with no radio reception or you're bored waiting for an appointment or a plane, and you can listen to a whole bunch of them. You want to be prepared. You don't want to be in a situation where you've got nothing to listen to and you got to download Pamela Price's podcast instead.
She called me a crime boss.
And starting tomorrow at noon, we're live in Los Angeles and in San Francisco.
Starting tomorrow, April 1st, 2025, The John Phillips Show is going live and statewide. Every single day we'll be live from noon to 3 on 790 KABC in Los Angeles, Orange County, San Bernardino, Riverside. And we're going to be live from noon to 3 on 810 KSFO in the Bay Area, covering San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. That signal goes all the way up to Sacramento. We've got quite a huge reach now. We'll be still doing the same content that we always do, covering the state of California. But now we can take live phone calls from Southern California and Northern California. So stick with us as we go live and statewide every single day from noon to 3 starting tomorrow.
And we're even getting emails from people in Idaho and Oregon, Arizona, all over the western United States.
I love it.
And right now it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And I know it's a Monday. I know many of you can have a case of the sads because it is a Monday and the weekend is over. But we're here to cheer you up because the first edition of the Blotter is an Ed Laskos report.
And it's on like Donkey Kong.
You know what my mental complex is? When you say something like that, I have to figure out how I edit that for a best of.
It's a minefield.
Not like it actually matters, but I'm a crazy person. But not as crazy as the jackass that was driving a stolen work truck through Long Beach, crashing into several cars, and it was narrated by the one and only Ed Laskos of Fox 11.
Stolen vehicle pursuit suspect tears through the streets of Southern California.
It involves multiple crashes. Let's go live to Long Beach, where Fox 11's Ed Laskos has new information for us tonight at 10 o'clock. Ed.
And we are talking about a destructive and almost deadly pursuit. It starts near the Harbor Freeway and Adams Street, then to the 605, speeds at 100 miles per hour plus, then Norwalk, then Whittier, and then here it ends. Long Beach, there it is, the stolen flatbed truck.
I don't understand, and we've always pointed this out, but it's always worth pointing out. How exactly has this guy on a Friday afternoon found a freeway where you can go 100 miles?
I don't know. But yesterday, it took me 3 hours to get to Anaheim to watch the Ducks lose.
Truck almost slamming into that paint store after leaving behind a wide swath of destruction. Watch this, will you?
Nobody throws to his own rap like Ed.
Watch this, will you? Clearing away all the destruction after the pursuit of a madman behind the wheel, driving like one, racing through traffic, smashing through traffic, and the explosive ending. It doesn't get any more horrible than this.
That could be used for so many things.
Well, I better save it then.
It doesn't get any more horrible than this.
That's a great one. It's clean, too. I love it. Let me save that right now. Ed Lascos, horrible. That's a great one.
It doesn't get any more horrible than this.
People just look terrified, and also like they looked kind of amazed, you know, like this happened right in front of them.
Yeah, like I'm about to die or something gonna blow up.
Yeah, if you were to see one of those trucks going at those speeds, you'd think it was a Michael Bay film, too.
Yeah, like I'm about to die or something gonna blow up. You know, the man that's insanity.
Insanity from this security video, top of the screen, the crash and the flatbed almost into that store. And insanity in slow motion, just missing the man to the left in the crosswalk, slamming into an SUV, a van, careening crazily up the sidewalk, blasting through a bus bench, and almost running down people who were there just moments earlier.
I don't know how we stop something like this, because the answer is not no pursuits.
No, you have to chase them.
But do we need to be more aggressive? I mean, at what point do you realize this guy's going 100 miles an hour about to crash into everybody? It's time to shoot out the tires. I don't know.
I don't think there's any good answer, because you have someone who's doing something reckless. They would be doing something reckless anyway, whether the cops are chasing them or they think someone might have seen something when they committed a crime, when they broke the law, whatever the case may be. I think you just have to roll the dice and chase them.
The people at the bus stop had just left the bus stop, and they were looking back in horror because they had just left the bus stop when the truck came through and careened through and smashed the bus stop.
No more bus stop in Long Beach.
Well, what's more dangerous, waiting at the bus stop or being on the bus?
The pursuit sending first responders scrambling through southern L.A. County. The target of that chase, this stolen flatbed truck in a wild pursuit, growing even more dangerous by the very second. If it's not going against traffic, it's going right through traffic.
Bam, just ran into the side, and he kept going.
He's one of about a dozen.
I mean, that truck was very powerful.
Some of these high-speed chases, you look at them and you say to yourself, how much money would it take from the marketing department for that car company to make the car look this sturdy and this reliable?
Yeah, forget doing those canyon country mountains where they're driving on the dirt trails. Show how durable your car is when it is evading police in a high-speed chase or crashing into a 7-Eleven.
That's right. Who needs a good review in Motor Trend when you've got Skyfox?
Bam, just ran into the side, and he kept going.
He's one of about a dozen innocent drivers turned victims, like this man helped out of the wreckage in that big crash that ends the chase. But if you think all this is crazy, after the crash, the driver of that flatbed gets out. He's not running away. He's just walking. He's out like he's walking his dogs.
This is indicative of a state full of people where no one believes they're going to go to prison for anything that they do.
And I wonder what this guy's rap sheet looks like. Because I guarantee this wasn't his first stolen car.
He's out like he's walking his dogs.
He didn't even run. He just got out calmly and just walked away. It was like the craziest thing I've ever seen.
He's still walking when LAPD runs in and down goes the suspect. Down.
I'm telling you. In a former life, Ed Lascos probably was a ring announcer.
Oh, could you imagine him doing WWE commentary?
And it's on like Donkey Kong. And down goes the suspect. Down he goes. 1, 2, count 'em, 4 officers.
At first, I thought he was counting however many knee drops the guy took.
He's still walking when LAPD runs in, and down goes the suspect. Down he goes. 1, 2, count 'em, 4 officers as LAPD gets their man.
They catch this guy. So hopefully he stay in jail for a long time.
Well, it is Los Angeles.
No, he'll be out by noon.
I don't want him to do the same thing for nobody else.
Now live, he is the owner of this stolen flatbed truck. He was in the office, and then somebody said, hey, isn't that your truck driving off? And the pursuit is on from that point. As for those injured...
How about that? You're sitting in your place of business, and somebody points to you, hey, isn't that your truck, Billy?
Oh, yeah, it's on the news now.
And the pursuit is on from that point. As for those injured, like the man you saw in the video being helped out of the wreckage, rushed to the ER, we don't have exact conditions, but we're told all the injuries not considered life-threatening. For now, we're live here in Long Beach. Back to the west side we go.
Quite the update there, Ed. Thank you.
That was an Ed Lasco's classic, everyone.
It doesn't get any more horrible than this.
I'd like to go back and mute the commentary for Frazier Ali and have Ed Lascos do the play-by-play.
I got to find it somewhere. But one of the first times I really realized how great Ed Lascos was, and we started really using him, was, this had to be 4 years ago, maybe longer. But there was this report of a man in Encino that got attacked by a swarm of bees. And it was like a 30-second hit, but Ed Lascos narrated it so perfectly. And it was like, down he goes.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
You know, Johnny, usually when people email us, it's a quick little line, a quick little quip. But Dee wrote in with a whole rant about Gavin Newsom, and I feel like I got to read the whole thing. Dee writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com on Gavin nuisance. Gavin needs to get a real job rather than live off the taxpayers. I'm waiting for Doge to start looking up Gavin's dress. Where is all the money gone? High-speed rail project and all the money that's been poured into it, where did the money go? Property taken by eminent domain, then sold to developers, some of which Auntie Nancy is invested in. The project is broke. Where did the money go, Gavin? The homeless projects. How much money has been poured into the problem? Money gone, problem bigger. Where did the money go, Gavin? The money being collected at the fuel pump to maintain the roads. He boasted on television that money has fueled hundreds of thousands of miles of new pavement. The only pavement I see laid are for express lanes and toll roads pay to use. And yet the roads I drive on that I pay the taxes and fees at the pump for continue to ravage the suspension of my vehicles, and the loosened pavement rocks destroy my windshields. Where did the money go, Gavin? And then they need to look up the trousers of Karen Bass for the money she's collected and especially spent on the homeless and housing crisis. The money disappears, the problem gets bigger, and she keeps asking for more and more money. Where did the money go, Karen? I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for Doge. Please.
All very good points raised by the emailer. Programming note, I'm going to be on with Armstrong and Getty tomorrow morning at 8:35 talking about the debut of our simulcast here in Los Angeles and in San Francisco. That begins tomorrow at noon right here on KABC and on KSFO. And right now it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And Randy, this edition takes us to the land of eclairs.
A owner of a bakery in Studio City went to open up for the day to get the bread going, get the pastries going, and found a bunch of burglars ransacking the place, and then they decided they were going to attack him.
Uh-oh. I hope he had a French baguette to defend himself with.
For more on the Studio City bakery burglary, here is KTLA.
A local bakery owner shoved and thrown to the ground when he walked in on 3 burglars already inside his business early this morning.
If they broke in and then he walks in and they start attacking him, can we effectively change this from a burglary to a robbery?
Well, and if he hit him in the head with day-old bread, could that be considered a deadly weapon?
Surveillance video captured the intense moments as the hooded thieves attacked the owner of Sweet Lily Bakery.
And tonight, police are searching for those suspects who were long gone before help arrived. KTLA's Sandra Mitchell is live in Studio City, where she spoke to the owner about the terrifying experience. Sandy?
Cher, those burglars came right through that front door. They had a metal pole with them, and they used it to attack the owner.
They attacked him with a pole?
Oh, my God. I hope he had some custard to squirt in their eyes.
Cher, those burglars came right through that front door. They had a metal pole with them, and they used it to attack the owner. Tonight, he shared his story with us. Creeping through the bakery in the early morning, 3 burglars dressed in black.
Black suit. Black mask, black gloves.
Oh, they're one of Ferrer's kids.
Oh, yeah. They're very concerned about the spread of COVID.
Yeah.
An entire generation of criminals knows that they can cover their face and walk into any establishment thanks to Barbara Ferrer.
Didn't she claim to be a badass when she was in high school?
No, thank you.
Well, she claimed that she nearly dropped out and couldn't get into college.
That I believe.
The thieves ran right into bakery owner Thibault Lemery.
Not Tebow.
T-Bone?
Bakery owner Thibault Lemery.
Tipo.
Oh, Tipo, not T-Bone, not like the steak.
And I was like, wow. And, I screaming in the front of them, like, get out of here, but, in French.
Lemery.
Oh, he's French.
Oh, yes.
Lemery from Paris is the...
These are the kinds of incredible businesses we're chasing out of the city because how safe does this guy feel making his baguettes now?
He thought the French Revolution was on a second time.
Lemery from Paris is the owner of Sweet Lily Cafe on Cahuenga Boulevard. And about 4 o'clock this morning, he was inside alone. The burglars crept inside, one of them with a metal pole in his hand. They tackled him by the baking rack.
What exactly are you going to get at a French bakery?
Yeah, and was beating the baker really necessary?
They tackled him by the baking racks and pushed him violently into the front door.
The first one came on me, take me by my shirt, and pushed me from the kitchen to the door.
Lemery has some minor injuries to his eye, his arm, his back, and he immediately reported the crime to police.
Oh, someone came in my bakery and beat me on the floor, and like 10 minutes after that, they came.
So about 20 minutes later.
Uh-oh.
But the burglars were long gone, driving away in a Mercedes sedan with a stolen computer, but not much else.
So they stole the iPad that he uses to process payments.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
I don't know why, because there is nothing to steal here. There is some money, but it's like dollars, like there is nothing.
Lemery says fixing the door will be expensive, and his employees are worried the burglars could be back.
Well, of course, they haven't been caught. Although there's nothing to get there, and hopefully they know that now.
And the only thing they stole were some carbs.
To be more secure for me, but for my guys also, because they were afraid.
How many long cigarettes did he have to smoke to get over this?
Oh, many.
LAPD.
Many.
LAPD has only a vague description of the suspects because, again, they were wearing masks.
Thank you so much, Barbara Ferrer.
First the Germans and now this.
The trickle-down effect from one stupid policy decision that has enabled criminals year after year after year after year to commit crimes. Security video doesn't matter because we can't use any of it.
Yeah.
It used to be illegal to wear a mask in public.
Yes.
Because, again, they were wearing masks over their face. But they do have some pretty good video, that getaway car. But tonight we know no suspects in custody. We're live tonight in Studio City. I'm Sandra Mitchell, KTLA 5 News. Back to you, Cher.
Studio City, you're about to lose a French bakery. I hope you're happy.
Where are they going to get their croissants? Costco? They make pretty good ones.